What's good, YouTube? This past week, Lil Uzi Vert announced his most recent music drop called the Red and White EP. And one thing that stood out to me was the lack of hype around Uzi dropping new music. It seemed like almost nobody was really talking about it. There was nothing about it that seemed to excite the hip hop community. So it got me wondering, is Lil Uzi out of his prime? So what I did is I came to you guys, my subscribers, and I asked you, is Uzi in fact out of his prime? And out of 2,200 votes, 76% of you guys said yes, he is in fact out of his prime. And it got me wondering where Uzi seemed to go wrong to have such a lack of hype around him dropping new music. So if we look back at the history of him dropping, from 2015 to 2016, he dropped 3 great tapes, which started to build a huge buzz into his 4th tape, Love Is Rage 2, which sold 135,000 units first week and was his biggest album to date. Now, after Love Is Rage 2, which was received super well by hip hop and especially every circle I was around at the time, Uzi was like at the top of the top, and he was features everywhere. His buzz was huge, and everyone was a fan of him in that mainstream hip hop community. After Love Is Rage 2, we didn't get a tape for 3.5 years. Now, I know he was dealing with some issues with Generation Now, his label owned by Don Cannon and DJ Drama, and he didn't want to drop new music, or he wasn't allowed to drop new music. But without that lack of music, it didn't feed those fans that were at such a big hype for him. And that was such an issue because, especially in today's day and age of streaming, to keep a fan's attention is really difficult. You have to constantly be releasing new music. That's how these artists that are up and coming, who are trying to get a buzz, that's how they're maintaining these fan bases and building buzz, because they're always giving their fans a reason to come back to their catalog and listen to new music. And Uzi didn't do that for 3.5 years. And up to that point, we got 4 tapes from Uzi in 3 years, and the buzz was big, but I don't know if it was big enough to keep all those people. And by the time Eternal Take dropped, we were all starving for Uzi. We knew we needed music from him. His buzz was still huge in 2020, and he dropped it. And he sold 288,000 units first week. He was huge. But in my personal opinion, I thought Eternal Take and the Deluxe was trash for the most part. There were a couple songs, Prices, P3, that were solid, but the tapes weren't like any other tape previously. I mean, I was taking easily 3 to 5 songs from every previous tape from Uzi, and even as high as like 5, 7, 8 from Love Is Rage 2, and listening to them on repeat over a long period of time. And I felt like with Eternal Take, because it was a 3.5 year wait and all those fans were waiting so long, the product inevitably wasn't going to be good enough to fulfill everyone. And I felt that, if he dropped Eternal Take a year after Love Is Rage 2 and kept that fan base engaged and kept us coming back to his catalog, it would have been received much differently. And then, Eternal Take was still on the charts for 122 weeks. It was at number 1 for 2 weeks. The buzz was there for Uzi, but I felt like the product to fulfill the mainstream fans of hip-hop, the hardcore hip-hop heads, was not there. And this is where I feel like Uzi's fan base, who today is much different. The Uzi fan base today, the people who are still going to have hype around his music, it's not that mainstream fan base anymore, mainstream hip-hop fan base. Because Uzi was one of the leaders in 2016 when the sound of hip-hop really changed to the new school. The people who are big fans of Uzi today and who really care are what I call the rage fan base. The people who are fans of Playboi Carti, Trippie Redd. Yeet is now being categorized in there. And those are the people that care about Uzi. And that rage fan base is a specific type of fan base. They're not the mainstream heads who are rocking with Lil Baby and Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy. Rage fans are very specific type of people. And that's who Uzi is capturing these days. It's a certain type of music, it's a certain type of rap, and it's a certain type of crowd. And I feel like, who I have here, like who is listening to my videos and who is responding to that poll, you guys are mainstream hip-hop heads. Not always listening to the biggest rappers, you're still listening to underground rappers, but it's not a rage fan base. It's not that specific type of crowd. Most likely you guys like trap music and you liked that sound of Uzi from 2016 to 2020. But where that side of hip hop is going is becoming much different. And even I'm not really rocking with it too much anymore. So I'm with you guys that Uzi is seeming to be out of his prime. And even if he sells a lot in this next drop, which I don't think he'll sell as much as Eternal Will Take, it's like that buzz that Uzi had isn't there anymore. He's never going to have me captured like he once did again, because the records are not what they once were. They're more on that other side of rap with the Playboi Cartis. And he's always been that Playboi Carti side, but Uzi was making great music for all of hip hop 2016 to 2020. But I want to hear you guys' comments. Is Uzi out of his prime, or does he still have you engaged as a fan? If you all enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.